Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, how about a mother who just trying to pay her rent? Okay. 2 kids, 2 jobs, daddy locked up for hustling. Had to do whatever, cause something's better than nothing. Yeah. Stamps cut off, knees aching from the praying. Too much killing in the streets, so the kids gotta stay in. Yeah. This the type of life that's being lived in these streets. Blacks killing more blacks ain't appealing to me. We already at war with the world, so where's the loyalty? So we can get back to them youngins and raise them like royalty. But we too busy paying court fees for white bricks and bags of weed instead of fighting for single mothers who struggling and are in need. Let's get on our Q's and P's instead of selling P's and Q's, and invest our time in learning and not becoming some fools. Cause I swear my city crazy and you know it is too. So I got some street gospel and I wrote it just for you. So I tell them, so I tell them. Hey, so I tell them. Hey, so I tell them. Yeah, so I tell them. So I tell them. Hey, so I tell them. Yeah, so I tell them. Yeah, so I tell them. So I tell them, so I. Gotta stay consistent, nothing shall prosper, not even these foreign weapons. Can a nigga from the street receive a little slice of heaven? But hell is hard, but a reward it must be. Seems a little harder for us, so is it just me? I know some won't agree or believe, but trust me, I don't really care, cause in the end they won't judge me. No gown, no gavel, from the clouds to the gravel, whether near or far travels. If it's a rapper, unravel, never lose hope. A high from living life's the best use dope. Push the view of Black Lives Matter and never lose scope. Loud as I can, still screaming justice for my folks. And God bless their soul, but they'll never know how hard we really got it. We just asking for understanding and for y'all to stop it. Ballers in your court, what you gonna do? Shoot your shot or drop it. Make your choice this day. Bow our heads and let us pray. As I say, tell them. Hey, so I tell them. So I tell them, yeah, so I tell them, so I tell them, so I tell them, hey, so I tell them, yeah, so I tell them, yeah, so I tell them, so I tell them, so I.
You're tuned in to Too Late Tuesdays right here on Endie Fiya with your host, Nakia. And that was Mind Frame, straight out of Memphis, Tennessee. Make sure you're following him on social media at Thank God I'm Frame. And that was Street Gospel. Let me first say that I'm a little under the weather this evening. All right, so if I sound like a man, like somebody talked to me on the phone the other day, and they know me. I don't know if they was joking or if it just caught them off guard or whatever, but they was just like, all right, yes, sir. So if my voice sounds a little deeper, tonight, if my voice goes in and out tonight, I'm sick, guys. Like, I got fever, I got a sore throat, I got aches and pains, I got everything. Like, I don't know what this is. Like, I don't get sick. Last time I got sick was like 3 years ago, and I had pneumonia. And so I don't want that to get this bad because that had me out for like 3 weeks. All right? So you'll keep your girl in your prayers. All right? I want to just backtrack and talk about not really things that have happened in the entertainment or celebrity world, but just some things that, that we kind of celebrated over the weekend. And just back up to Saturday, 420 was Saturday. And you all know what 420 is, right? So, yeah, I don't want to say shout out to you guys, but, I'm sure the day was very festive. for you all, and I hope it was very safe as well. Leading into Sunday, 421. Now, so I had this so that it would all kind of flow together until, like, right before the show, I got this memo about something else that happened on 421. So it all doesn't kind of, it just really doesn't flow together anymore. But everybody knows Sunday was Easter. Happy belated Easter. Happy Resurrection Day to everyone. You all know the symbolism and the meaning behind Easter. I don't have to preach to you about that today. So for those of you who make it to church twice a year, you know, Easter, Mother's Day, I hope that you had an enjoyable service. I hope that, you know, some things stuck with you and they will sustain you for the week so that you'll be able to roll back up in church on Sunday and get a little bit more. How's that sound? All right. Also on 421, which kind of would go hand to hand with 420, it was Sexual Happiness Day, not to be confused with National Orgasm Day, because we all know that's July 31st. But, yeah, Sexual Happiness Day. Yo, I never heard of this, like, ever, ever heard of this. And I was reading the article that was sent to me, and the gentleman who wrote the article was just, you know, bringing attention to sexuality and sexual awareness. And you know, he made some comments like, you know, it doesn't matter if you're, you know, if you're skinny, if you're thin, if you're a little overweight, if you're fat, if you're, you know, black, white, it doesn't matter the race. You know, we all want to be loved and we all want to feel love. And sometimes, most of the times, that comes with, you know, different acts, you know what I mean? Sexual acts. And so he was stating, you know, if you're the type of person who wanted to celebrate all day by just being in bed all day, or, you know, in between breakfast and lunch, or lunch and dinner, or, you know, just wherever, just enjoy the acts. And I had a discussion with an artist a couple of weeks ago, and it was funny because we're both PKs. Everybody knows us Preacher's kids. We're both PKs, right? And we both grew up the world, but you know, when you're in the holiness of the Pentecostal church, everything's pretty much the same, right? So you know right from wrong. And but the conversation that we had, we was talking about music initially, and then it kind of went far left, you know. And he was like, you know, I was today years old when I found out that pleasing myself was like a sin. And I'm like, boy, shut up. Are you serious? And he's like, yeah, really, because I just really didn't think, you know, that was what the Bible said. So we spent some time that day, like, pulling up Bible verses and making them, you know how some people will pull the Bible and make it, twist it and turn it so that it relates to what they're going through only, you know, and it's only going to benefit that, whatever that particular situation is. But we were able to find a lot of verses that talked about, you know, how it's wrong, how it is a sin. You know what I mean? So I said all that to say, however you chose to spend or however you chose to have spent 421 Sexual Happiness Day, I hope that on the following day, on Monday, you know, you're happy. And it'll carry you throughout the rest of the week until you decide to have that day again. You should be happy. I feel like that about Valentine's Day. Like, you shouldn't have that one day to express your love for somebody. So if you're, you know, you're married, because you know that we only do that when we're married. If you're married and you're enjoying, you know, your significant other, you should be able to do that every day. You shouldn't have that one specific day that's set aside for that. Moving on to yesterday, 422, that was Earth Day. Earth Day. How many of you guys celebrated Earth Day or did something, you know, symbolic or talked about it, or, you know, shed some light on what the Earth Day or what Earth Day means to the younger generations, you know, because they're going to be the ones who follow us, and we need to be taking care of the earth. So yeah, those are the 3 days. The weekend was full of, you know, different events that people, like Easter egg hunts. Like, I forgot all about. I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to forget that, you know, the little kids enjoy stuff like Easter egg hunts. You know, I forgot all about Easter egg hunts. Like, I just kept telling people I want an Easter egg basket, you know, and they were like, go to Walmart, buy you a basket. No, I need a basket that's going to have, like, adult stuff in it, you know, not like cream eggs and stuff like that. Like, I need cash and Bath and Body Works and wine and more cash, you know what I mean? I need stuff like that in my Easter basket. So I did get an Easter basket from a friend, so thank you for sending that to me. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get my shout-outs in now because I typically forget to go ahead and get them in. So let me go ahead and do that before we bring our guest in. And all of my guests on the show are special. This guest tonight is no different, but he comes from a special community. And I've said this numerous times. We're in the end of April. I've said this numerous times since January. I've had more. This is the third season of this show. I've had more authors or poets on this season than I've had seasons. And it's because of this literary community that they have just like brought me in. And I say this every time I have an author or a poet on the show, like you give me the motivation and you give me the inspiration to go ahead and pick the pen up that continues to lay down, and to finish the books that I've started. Now this author tonight I think is pretty amazing, putting out 3 books last year and slated to put out 3 this year. I'm not going to get like that. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. I'm not going to get like that because it's taken me like 20 years to get started on this one book. So I found so much motivation in these individuals. So shout out to my business bestie, Susie Newton. She's an author, a publisher, a songwriter, and a poet. You can subscribe to her website at www.susienewton, that's NEWTON.com. Shout out to F.L. Beatty. He's an author as well out of Tampa, Florida. He sent, 2 or 3 guests already on the show. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing everything that I post. Thank you for your words of encouragement. You can follow him on Instagram at Ganz, that's GANZ 72. Chanel out of Tampa, Florida, urban Christian fiction author and blogger. Again, with the same, her support is amazing. And the books that she's written, y'all need to get on them. You can follow her on her website or subscribe to her website at Chanel, SHENELLINC.com. You can find out where she's going to be next. She was just at a big event in Tampa in Florida, and you can purchase the books as well. Also, Lady Kier, R&B hip-hop artist out of Charlotte, North Carolina, who gives the same support, who gives, just words of encouragement and motivation and inspiration on a daily. Follow her on Instagram at Lady Kier, that's KEAIR, the number 2. Also want to say, free my girl, supporter of all things Endie Fiya, Tiffany Johnson, who was in Facebook jail for about the 3rd time this year, and we're only in month 4, and they keep you in jail for like 30 days. So Tiffany's like the queen of memes. All right, so I don't know who reported her, but Facebook, she got a way around that. So she's still doing what she does, but free her real name so she can get back out there and just make people smile. All right. I want to jump right in now and get this interview started with my guest. I'm talking about Gerald C. Anderson, Sr. He was born and raised in Tampa, Florida. He spent most of his childhood life growing up in the Belmont Heights area of Tampa. In 1980, Gerald graduated from C. Leon King Senior High School in Temple Terrace, Florida. After graduation, he enlisted in the United States Air Force. In his service career, Gerald traveled the world with assignments to California twice, Florida, Kansas, Maryland, West Germany, and Korea. Upon his last assignment in Maryland and after retirement from the Air Force, Gerald worked in the United States federal government's Department of Energy. In 2003, he moved to the Internal Revenue Service. I ran from them. And in 2007, he joined the Department of Education. In 2005, Gerald got his Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Information Systems from Astoria University. And in 2008, he received his Master of Administration degree in Criminal Justice Administration from the University of Cincinnati. His published books include We Come in Peace, 2010, 27 Hours in 2012, and republished in 2014, 2016. The Lawyer, 2018. The Last Song, 2018. Saved, 2018. The Room, newly published, 2019. Are You Innocent, scheduled for release May 2019. And Warlord, scheduled for release August 2019. In 2015, Gerald and Renata M. Smith agreed to become business partners and started Righteous Productions. Together, they wrote the script for the movie version of Standing Firm and co-produced the movie. Endie Fiya listening audience and fans, I present to you my guest this evening, Mr. Gerald C. Anderson, Sr.
Hi,
Oh,
how are you?
wait. Here we go. I got it this week. Yes. See?
That's cool.
See, most of the time I'm like all over the place and I forget the applause. But yeah, I got it this week. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here. You could have been anywhere this evening, and it's very, very short notice. That's what I love about the literary community, because they're all standing firm on what they do, and they support one another. And so when I posted, I don't know, Sunday night, that, I had my scheduled guest had a family emergency, and I needed someone, that literary community just jumped right in and, started sharing the post, and here you are. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are so very welcome. And I want to say also, thank you for your service. That to me is when people, step out of self and are able to have selfless acts like serving, in any branch of the military. That's huge. That's huge. And I have a son that's in the Army now, so that's very huge for me. So thank you for your service. Jumping
You're
right
welcome.
in. Yes, thank you. When did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer?
Well, when you mentioned the college stuff that I went through back in 2008 when I was getting ready to graduate from the University of Cincinnati, the master's program has a lot of writing in it, and so when I finished that, the last course that I had is like a 40-page paper that you have to write. So when I finished that, I decided that, all of this writing for academic reasons, it's time for me to do some writing for my enjoyment. And that's when We Come in Peace came about. It took me, 2 years to put it all together. But after I did that, I felt so good about it, I just kept going, and I've never stopped since then. So that to answer your question, I've always wanted to write. But what motivated me to write was going through that program at the University of Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, I can't say that is going to be for me. Like I graduate next month, and for the second time, and I did mention to someone that I was going to take a semester off before I went back, because I needed the time, not only for myself, but to like I said, you guys have motivated me so much to want to get back into not just writing, because I used to just write just to release feelings, but there's so many books that are within me that I feel like right now I'm consumed with so much and being pulled in so many different directions that I need to take a semester off to at least start writing, this first book. But yeah, only these papers that I've had to write this last month or so, no, it hasn't motivated me. It's just something that's within me, that I know that I have to accomplish. Kind of that thing that's on your bucket list, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because, like I said, I started my first two books actually, each took 2 years to write, but then I started learning stuff, and I saw some things, I read some books, and I put together a strategy to where now, like the one that's coming out next month, Are You Single? Are You Innocent? It's going to be around 75,000 words in a month. But I have a system that allows me to go, that has allowed me to go from 500 words a day to 5,000 words a day.
Wow!
And it's all in the same thing that I've been doing daily. I don't do anything extra except I use the time that was downtime to write in places that you wouldn't think you could write.
Mhm.
So
I need to jump on that. I don't have 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't have that energy. I don't have that. I got like 4 months to get this book done. All right, 4 months.
Yeah.
So I need that. I need that strategy.
in 4 months, I could probably have 2.5 books done now.
Hey, stop bragging. So
well, I mean, it's the strategy. The stories are there. It's just getting them out of your head and putting them on paper.
Right. I'll be your first buyer, that's for certain. When you sit down to write a story, do you know how it's going to end?
No, now I'm not your atypical author, okay? And that to answer your question, no, I don't. I don't really have an exact way that I think it's going to end. I may have an idea, but when I get an idea for a book, let's take The Room for instance. I had an idea for that book, and then actually that book started out as a short story. It was only going to be about 20,000 word short story. That was my goal. Well, when I started writing, the characters start coming to life. The story starts coming together. Before you know it, we're over 60,000 words, and it's a book. So, no, I never really know everything about the book until I finish writing the book. And then that's just me. Other people, they go and they outline everything that they want to happen in the book, and they have everything mapped out, and then they start writing. I don't do that. I have an idea, and I just start writing, and let the story just come out of me as I go along.
Now that's interesting. That's more of my style of writing. So Fred, when he was on the show, he mentioned that he did have an outline that he used, and I thought, okay, well maybe I could, because I always know how it's going to end, and I pretty much know how it's going to start. It's that stuff that's in the middle that kind of just, is all over the place. And so, he mentioned his outline. But I think for me, it's best for me to just go ahead and say what I got to say. Just get it all out without, without the outline. What's your writing process
I can't use the outline. I can't use an outline at all because I actually did try an outline one time, and about 20 pages in, I threw the outline away because I wasn't going to stick to it. That doesn't work for me, because I know what the story is in my head, and even if I tried to do an outline, tomorrow it's going to change because I'm going to come up with something else, and then then I was going to take this character one way, and then all of a sudden I have to take him this way, and so I throw it. I don't even start an outline. I just sit down and I start writing, and I write all the way through until the story is over. And my first time going through writing a story, I don't worry about editing at all. I don't care about editing at all. I just want to get it all down on paper. Then I go back and edit and, review it, add stuff, take stuff out, whatever. But my main objective when I get started is to just write the whole thing from start to finish. Yeah.
How do you stay disciplined and not get distracted?
I enjoy it. If you're doing something that you enjoy doing, it's easy to just continue doing it and just not get distracted from it. And for me, it relieves stress. If you have stress, which 2018 was a stressful year for me. But when you start writing and you start getting into that world, or creative writing for me, maybe nonfiction authors might have a different perspective. But for me, creative writing, fiction writing, it takes you away. It takes your mind off your problems. You ain't thinking about your problems. You're thinking about the character's problem and how they're trying to get from point A to point B. And you're writing that, and you get into that, and before you know it, the day is gone, and you haven't worried about that thing that you thought you were going to worry about. So the writing for me is enjoyment, and it relieves stress if I have any, and so I just love doing it. So that's why I do it every day.
And so writers are often encouraged to write what they know. How have your real life experiences impacted the type of stories that you write about?
Well, my stories are all Christian based, so that's my life right there. So everything I write about is dealing with Christianity. It's Christian fiction stories, and I always like to have stories that will entertain, but at the same time will educate the reader. So I try to put stuff in there that people might say, "Oh, I didn't know that," but they're reading it in a fiction book. So I write about things. I write about that because I know a lot about that, because that's the life that I live. I can't write about something that I don't know anything at all about. So lately my stories have had some criminal justice woven into some of them too, because that's my degree, and I spent 15 years as a paralegal. So you write about the things you know because you don't really have to do research there. You know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You already know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the easiest thing to write and weave into your stories because you already have to know it. You don't have to sit there at a computer and research it and go talk to people and stuff to learn it. You already know it. Now, there may be some times when you're trying to write an aspect of your story or something, and you're going to have to do that kind of research. But I always try to stick to things that I know about because it's easier.
Right. So in Christian fiction, how do you balance keeping the message strong while still wanting to reach others beyond Christian bookstores or churches?
Well, that's a tough question because you have it depends on the person. It depends on the author themselves, and what are you trying to get out of this, and what are you trying to get out to people? For me, I try to keep my books Christian fiction and have the message and everything, and they're mostly targeted at Christian people. Can non-Christian people read them? Sure, they can read those books. But my message is to those people, to the Christian community, But anyone can read the book. If they do read it, they will probably learn something from it. But I have to target a certain aspect of, and this is also what I learned as an author, with 8 books out. You have to target a group of people, and that's who you're writing to. You're not going to be able to target everyone. That'd be nice, if you can target everyone. But my target is that group of people. Now, do I want it to go beyond them? Sure. But I can't sacrifice my message to make that happen. For me.
Yeah, that's good right there. That's good. Why do you feel that some readers shy away from reading Christian fiction?
Well, I have a tough time answering that question because, I could guess it because it is Christian. If you're not a Christian, then you're probably going to shy away from it because you think it's just all about Christianity. But it's not. It's not a nonfiction book, which is most of your nonfiction Christian books are basically teaching you all about Christianity. With my books are about normal, everyday people going through things that happen to be Christians. And so, for instance, in the room, you have 5 people who are normal, everyday people that end up in a room. And the main character slowly finds out that things about each one of the people in the room. And these people have all done something to him, his family, during his life. For instance, one of the people was responsible for the death of his father. So the end is, does he forgive these people for the things that they did to him in his life or not? So it comes down to that Christian principle of forgiveness. So I always try to introduce normal people struggling through this thing we call life and dealing with certain aspects of it in a Christian way.
Okay. I can't wait to read The Room. Normally I have a couple days to start reading, the latest book by an author, but I was not granted that privilege this time, so I can't wait.
That's okay. Standing Firm is another one. Standing Firm is a good example of one that was about domestic violence. People love that book. And so that was about a Christian family.
That's the movie?
Yeah, that's the one that became a movie. But that's a Christian family that ends up having to deal with the aspect of domestic violence in their life. As Christians, this came into their home, into their family. And people think, Christian. In fact, I had one person who read my very first book, We Come in Peace. He said, well, what's the sense in having a book when you know the outcome? I was like, you don't know the outcome, though. And his thought process was, because God was involved in it, you already know what the outcome is going to be. And I was like, no, that's not necessarily true. I still have people that read certain my stories, and they like, wow, I would not have guessed that ending. Because you can't always guess the ending. You can't guess what God is going to do. You can't guess what the author is going to do at the end of the story.
Right.
So, yeah, Standing Firm was the one that was turned into a movie.
Now, do these go? I know that they're not sequels of one another, but do you have to read them in a particular order?
No, they're not. They're not sequels, but the Standing Firm that does have 3 books in that series. It's Standing Firm, Secrets, and Saved. They're all together. So Standing Firm is the first one. Saved is the sequel to Standing Firm. Secrets is the prequel to Standing Firm. But if I tell people you should read Standing Firm first, because after Standing Firm was put out and published, people liked it so much, and I did several interviews and spoke at different places about domestic violence. And the one question that a lot of people ask me is, how does a person become an abuser? So I got that question a lot. So I wrote Secrets to take you back into the past, so you can see how the abuser in Standing Firm became an abuser. And it was because of what he saw in his father. His father was an abuser, so he became an abuser, and the cycle continued. So those 3 are together. Now, Warlord is also going to be the sequel to 27 Hours. But none of the rest of them are connected like that.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're just tuning in, you're live right here on Tuesdays on Endie Fiya with Nakia and our special guest, Gerald C. Anderson, Sr. You mentioned your characters quite a few times. How do you select the names for your characters?
Sometimes, it's interesting you say that because in Are You Innocent, I was writing Are You Innocent, and I needed a name for a woman, a powerful Christian woman's name. And so I went on Facebook, and I said, I need a powerful Christian woman's name for my newest novel. You know how many people commented on that? I got names, like long list of names that I said, I'm never doing this again because it was just too many names that I got.
Yes, on Facebook. Oh, yeah.
So I said, no, I don't think I'll ever do that again because it was too many people. But sometimes I ask friends, and sometimes there's a name, a character name generator. The internet got everything. But so
right.
On the internet, there's a thing called a character name generator, and you put your characteristics of your character in that site, and it'll kick out names. So if you want an African American's name, a male, 30 years old, it kicks out names that were popular during 30 years ago when babies were being born. It kicks out names. So. And it gives you the first name and the last name of the character. So I use that a lot. Sometimes I use people's names that I've known in my life. So if people in my past read my books, they might see their name in there somewhere. I use those. I use their names too. So it's just whatever's going on at the moment. If it's a name that I think of, I use. If it's a name of somebody I used to know or currently know, I might use their name, and I use the name generator. But I will never use Facebook again. I got too many choices on that.
Yeah, yes. I definitely will utilize that because I don't want nobody to know that I'm talking about them. And
right.
If they read stories, they'll be able to know that that they impacted that part of my life, but I don't want to put their names out there like that. Now, speaking of the powerful Christian woman's name that you were needing, what is the most difficult thing about writing characters from the opposite sex point of view?
That I really have to talk to people a lot of times, because when I'm writing from a female's point of view, I have to talk to females and I ask them questions. I ask I have a lot of women friends. Renata's one of them, as you saw in my bio. So I ask them questions sometimes from their perspective, and get information so I can write it that way. And I've known a lot of women over the years. I'm like 56 years old. I know a lot of women. I talk to my mom. Like my mom has like 5, 6 sisters. So I know a lot of them that I can talk to and find out from the female perspective whatever it is I need to find out at that moment.
Okay.
A lot of that went into Standing Firm because that was about 3 women, it was 3 sisters in the house. So I had to talk to people about that one.
Okay. How did publishing your first book change your writing process?
Oh boy, you must have did some research. My first book. You ever heard of Prince's Black Album? That he put this certain. He put that album out just because so the record company wanted to make money off of him, and he didn't want to do it a certain way, so he just put that album out there to get a fill a contract. Okay, well, my Black Album is my first book. I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning the process and everything, and I signed this contract, to get my book published. That was the biggest mistake I've made in my literary career. Don't ever sign a contract that asks you to pay money for these people to publish your book, and then on the back end of it, they get 80% of what you make.
Oh, goodness.
Don't ever do that. So if anybody's out there listening and thinking about writing their first book or whatever, do not ever do that. If a company wants to publish your book, read the contract, get somebody else to read the contract, however you do it, but make sure you read it thoroughly and see what the royalty percentage is that they're going to give you on the back end. And the other thing about them is I couldn't even buy the books myself, author copies of the book, to turn around and sell because they had the price so high for me. The price was so high for me. Amazon had the book lower, so I was like, why would people buy the book from me if they can get it from Amazon cheaper? So I had no way of recouping any of the income that I made with that book. So I vowed to tell everybody that I could within my listening voice to never, ever do that. They're called vanity publishers. So don't ever go with a vanity publisher. So that was the other part of your question. So after that, I decided to learn the process myself and do the process myself and publish my own books.
Yeah, I think I probably would have also. Oh.
Yeah. Now, from what I understand, there are some reputable companies out there, but if you have any kind of tech skills whatsoever, you can do it yourself. You can do the whole process of publishing the book yourself, and you can put it in a lot of different places that these companies say that they can put it in, but you can do it yourself. It takes a little bit of time to get it out there and get it out into all the markets that you want to get into, but it's certainly cheaper than doing what I did and pay $2,000 to a company, and you got nothing back for it. To this day, they still own the rights to that book.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
So other than that bit of knowledge that you just dropped for those who may be listening, what are common traps for aspiring writers?
Well, that's the biggest one right there. That is the biggest one right there. Is watch out for those vanity publishers. And then make sure you get someone who can definitely edit your books the way you want them to be. The editing is for an independent author, an indie author. that's the toughest thing for us, is finding editors to edit our books. We don't have the big publishing houses dollars to spend on editing, so we have to get editing done the best way we can. Now, I come across a couple of tools that help a lot, and one is Grammarly. I don't know if you heard of Grammarly before, but that's an editing tool, and the other one is Pro Writing Tools. If you use those two tools in combination, you can head off a lot of editing things in your books. So those are the two biggest things for me: vanity publishers and editing. And then just learn the whole process too. Don't just get into it and say, okay, I published my book, that's it. No, learn the whole process so you know what's going on with your book. It's just like music and movies. You write a book, you publish a book, that book continues to make profits for you 30 years down the line.
Right.
So learn everything. The independent authors, we have to be marketers. We have to learn how to market our book. Your books don't get marketed on their own. You have to put it out there. You have to get on social media. You have to stand on the street corner. You have to go to events, radio interviews, everything. You have to do this yourself. So when you take on that responsibility of saying, I'm going to publish a book, don't think that book is just going to sell on its own. You have to market
it. That's good information right there, and it's applicable across all forms of entertainment, because I tell artists that the same. You just can't go in the studio and make a track and that be the end of it.
Right.
Have to be on social media. You have to be promoting your new music. You have to do the interviews, and you have to learn all aspects of this industry as well. You just can't say that you're a songwriter or an artist and be done with it, because when it comes time to signing contracts, you need to be able to differentiate what's being said in these contracts. And there's nobody better, I feel, to, especially when you're just starting out, to get your music out there to people so that they can see what you're all about than yourself. You should be willing to put in that work like you do in your full-time job. You should be able to do the same, as an artist. So that's what you just said. That stands across, many communities within the entertainment industry.
And there's one more thing too that a lot of people don't realize. When I said that about your books, music, movies will be making royalties or can be making royalties 30 years down the line. Well, what if you're not here 30 years? What happens to that money? You need to set up some sort of process so that, like for me, I have a son. If something happens to me, he gets my royalties. Those royalties don't stop because I'm no longer here. They're passed down. So people have to keep that in mind too.
That's why it's important for artists to be registered. BMI, ASCAP, they need to be registered so they are getting their royalties. That you're not just putting music out, just for the love of it, or that you're just not putting music out, for your fans. But you need to be able to reap the benefits of everything that you invested into your music career. So, again, it just there's so many correlations within the literary community and the music industry. There's a lot of that cross between those two segments of the entertainment, industry.
It's the business end. You got what you do.
Right.
You write, someone else sings, someone else acts in movies. But the business end is all very similar, not exactly the same. You got to do things to cover your royalties, to cover royalties in the future, and market yourself. That's all the same business end stuff that you have to do, and that's what independent authors have to learn. I get authors that come talk to me, say, "Oh, I'm going to write a book," and I start telling them all the stuff they got to do, not besides just writing the book. You got other things you got to do. And so, some of them may decide not to do it because they got so much to do. But I think it's better that they know before they get into it.
Exactly. What one thing would you give up to become a better writer?
One thing would I give up?
Yeah.
I actually can't think of one thing I would give up to become a better writer. Because I strive every day to be a better writer. I guess I'm giving up my time because I continue to learn. Every day, even though I've put out these books, it's been 10 years I've been doing this, I still continue to learn. And I kind of got that from, I'm a musician as well, so I kind of got it from that perspective. No matter how long I've been playing my piano, I still learn. I still try to learn new stuff and grow. So I'm always giving up my time to learn to be better at what it is I do. So time, I guess, is the thing that I already give up to become better and at writing, playing my music, whatever it is.
And growth is something I hear on every interview, no matter if it's a blogger, if it's an author, if it's a music artist, if it's entrepreneur. If you're in the same place that you were last year, doing the same things that you were doing last year, and you haven't seen any growth, then it's time for you to rewrite the plan. And because we can't stay complacent in everything that we do, we have to be able to experience growth. And that kind of goes back to the question I asked about, your writing process in the beginning versus your process now. If someone tells me, oh, it's the same, or my music sounds the same, then you haven't experienced growth. What do you?
Mine's a long way away from being the same.
Yeah. So if you're just tuning in,
because like I said, it took me 2 years to write my first book. 2 years now, I ain't gonna tell you how many books I'm gonna have out.
Especially when you're putting them out, quickly as you're putting them out. Like 3 last year, and you're slated to do 3 this year. So, you have to be able to see the growth in everything that you do.
Yeah. But actually, if you really think about it, most of 2018, I didn't do anything because, like I told you, I had a hard 2018. I lost my sister, and so it was a difficult year for me. And I actually did not start writing until August. And I felt God speaking to me saying, okay, you grieved enough. Get up and go and do this. Do what I have you to do. So I actually didn't start writing in 2018 again until August. I was barely keeping my magazine afloat last year. My writing staff, they did a wonderful job keeping all the articles going and keeping the magazine afloat. But personally, I wasn't doing a lot of writing at all until August. So when you say 3 books in 2018, it was really 3 books in 5 months. And then the 4th came out in March of this year. So I actually didn't get back on the saddle until August, until I just said, enough is enough, and I got to stop sitting around here feeling bad and down and stuff and get back into doing what I was doing. So, and once I started doing that, it became good therapy for me. It started relieving the stress because I started doing what I love to do.
Makes sense. And when that's something a lot of people run from, and I'm guilty of that. When you're spoken to, and when you're told to go ahead and do what He's already designed for you to do, you have no choice but to get it done. So I felt like you could have done, your 3 books in 3 months if that was what He'd already planned, for your life. It would have happened, whether it took you the whole year or whether it took you that 5 months that it took you. When He speaks, a lot of things can move, and they can move very quickly. So I commend you for that. 3 books in 5 months. Again, that will never happen to me. I stay distracted too much. That's why I asked you the question about, what do you do when it comes to distractions? We'll get that all worked out.
Yeah.
If you just
yeah, but
put it
if you learn my strategy though, I guarantee you that book will come quicker.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to learn that strategy. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just tuning in live right here on Two It Tuesdays on Endie Fiya, right here with Nakia and our special guest, Gerald C. Anderson, author and movie producer.
Hey, yo, what's good? It's your boy Jerusalem from the Scarfella Music Group, and you on the air with the hottest station, Endie Fiya, with your host, Lil Timmy and Nakia, right here on the station bringing you all the hottest hip-hop hits, Endie Fiya. Let's get it.
So I know a lot of people, you mentioned that you are a musician as well. And with my artists, that's something that I always ask them, do you come from a musical background? Does your family support, the music that you put out? So as an author, is your family supportive of the career path that you've chosen?
Oh, my family is very supportive of my author career. But they also support my music. My family was out there for the movie. So I got a very supportive family. I can honestly say that for sure. And I got a supportive church family. I have two different churches that I play at: Word Healing Outreach Ministry and True Gospel in Maryland. So so I have very supportive family, church family, friends, everything. So they all support me very well.
Okay, I think that is important as well. That our support system is strong, firm, and very impactful. In our lives. And a lot of people, they mention, yes, my family's supportive. My wife or my significant other, they're supportive. My kids are supportive. My job is even supportive. But very few people say my church is supportive. No matter, what you're doing in the independent community, I feel like you should be able to go to your church and let them know, I started this career as a blogger. This is what I talk about. I started this career as an author, and this is what I write about. Or I started this career as a musician, and this is what I sing about. I just feel like when you have that group of people praying for your success, you just turn out a little bit more successful, if you ask me. Because you have the right people in your corner, the right people that are praying for you, not those that you wonder, are their prayers even going to get past the ceiling? You got some people in your corner that when you say pray for me and pray for this work that I'm about to release, that they can get a prayer through, that your your work will be successful, and not only in that time, but it will continue to be successful for years and years to come. So I definitely want my church backing me in everything I do. I normally don't welcome them to listen to the show because, my mouth can go south every now and again, but I do cover prayers, of my church family, most definitely. This is the time of the interview.
Both of them back me, so I'm 100% they back me. So.
This is the time of the interview where we play a little game called Either Or. All right? It's nothing that you have to think very long about. You don't have to go in depth with your answers. The question or the answer will either be one option or it will be the other option. This is a way for our listening audience to learn about you, the person, a little bit more versus, this Gerald C. Anderson Sr., the author. Okay? You ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Are you adventurous or cautious?
Cautious.
Do you like Angela Bassett or Michelle Obama?
Angela Bassett.
Do you prefer Frosted Flakes or Lucky Charms?
Frosted Flakes.
Do you enjoy washing dishes or doing laundry?
Oh, laundry.
Do you think before you speak, or do you speak before you think?
Think before I speak.
There you have it. One of these days, somebody's going to agree with me. I speak before I think. Now, the older I've gotten, I tend to sit back and reminisce on my mother always telling me, you need to think before you speak, because your mouth is going to get you in trouble one day. So maybe I'm just waiting on that one day for my mouth to really get me in trouble, because I still speak before I think. So one day I'm going to have somebody on the show that's going to agree with me. They speak before they think as well.
No, I grew up as an introvert, so I've learned to think first before I speak.
No, not me. No, I'm very, very extroverted. So it's like I'm always in a hurry, and I just need to get it out. It needs to get done. I don't have time to just sit here and think, all right, so let me get my words formed correctly before I blast off on somebody. No, I just go ahead and say what I got to say, and, yeah. I suffer from really severe migraine headaches. And I don't have time to keep a lot of stuff or energy bottled up. And so it's got to come out, So the older I get, I find myself just allowing myself to remember what my mother always said. You have to think before you speak. You have to think. Even if that's the only thing that I'm thinking of, I do find myself, the older I get, just reminiscing on that right there. The floor is now open to you to get your contact information out so that anyone who's listening can get in contact with you if they want to purchase, a book or two or three or four or all of them. If they want to pick your brain about your strategy of writing, if they want, to have their manuscript edited. Those who are listening now and those who may come back and listen to a follow-up show, the floor is now yours to get your contact information out.
Okay, all of my books are available on my website, which is GeraldCAndersonSR.com. My Facebook page is the same thing, Gerald C. Anderson SR. My Twitter contact is Gerald C. Anderson, and Instagram is Gerald C. Anderson SR. So everything that I have published though is available on Amazon, and Barnes & Noble has maybe half of my books, and some of them are in other spots too, but mostly everything is on Amazon.
All right, there you have it. Again, I want to thank you for joining me this evening. You could have been anywhere, but you very expeditiously took the call to be here with me tonight. So thank you. Once you're on the show, you're always family. Well, thank you. You're always family. You are a part of our Endie Fiya family now. We will continue to support everything that Gerald C. Anderson Sr. Has his name stamped on. Make sure that you're following the show on all social media platforms at Endie Fiya. That's ENDIEFIYA. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at Girl in Motion. That's GRLNMOTION. If you have not subscribed to the website, please do so. There's two steps to that. You click subscribe on the website, but then you get an email. You have to confirm that email, and then you're officially subscribed. That's www.indiefireradio.com. I want to leave you guys with a quote this evening. The dance can reveal everything mysterious that is hidden in music, and it has the additional merit of being human and palpable. Dancing is poetry with arms and legs. Until Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our guest, Lil Cole. Yeah, we'll have him on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you're tuning in. We'll be back here on next Tuesday as well with somebody. And then again on next Thursday with the mistress of soul, Dana Blackwell. Yes, we had Dana on season 1. So she returns with some new music next Thursday. So if you cannot miss them all, please do not miss them all. All right? Until Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, have a good night.